a calling for the approaches that you and I are speaking about here today, which we could also call feminine approaches. Like if you speak about love in the workplace, right? That is feminine. It has a feminine energy, whichever gender you have chosen in this life. So I believe that this is the time where we need to look at how do we balance masculine and feminine energies in the world. And I felt called to, with my team, we're initiating the World Women's Summit, which will take place from the 5th to the 9th of June, and bring out voices that speak to that moment in the midst of crisis where we can stop, go deep. That now moment is also dependent on how big is the space that we're listening to and relating to that informs us in that moment, and that we can find a next step that is fueled by love and passion and clarity in those places of crisis. And many women and men have created seeming miracles in the midst of crisis moment from these kind of energies. And there's also been research done by different people, for instance, Cilla Elworthy, who started the Peace Direct movement and is now involved in the Mighty Heart Network, that have shown that some of these feminine approaches in the midst of war have been so much more effective in creating sustainable peace over time. So we want to bring out these voices. There'll be some Nobel Peace Prize winners speaking, women from places like Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Africa. So women from around the world, but also men, to really just infuse our systems with a good shower of, we can do this. We don't need to harden. We don't need to despair. Actually, we can soften, deepen, become more focused, more precise in our work in the world, and bring this, what I call a culture of trauma-informed care. We can allow that to ripple out between us. So this is our next invitation to you, and we would warmly invite you all to join us for the World Women's Summit.
Love it. I love it because the amazing thing, I think there's so much awareness growing in so many different parts of our lives, because people are seemingly looking for, as you say, solutions that are more sustainable. So a lot of the quick, at pace, directive solutions that we've gone with in the past have that masculine energy around them. And what you're pointing us towards, if you like, with this work, is that there are circumstances when feminine energy is way more powerful. And I think it's certainly something I'm very happy to embrace in terms of that feminine energy, because it feels to me like it's always got better outcomes. If I do tune into what do I actually think about this on one level, that doesn't get me as far as what do I feel about this, and how can I tune into what the other person's feeling so that we end up in a better conversation, if you like. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and just to, I think at this time, instead of deepening our control over life,
Mm.
there needs to be this melting into the very fabric of life to unfold our power for change and transformation from a place of love
Mm.
within the very fabric of life.
Yeah.
And that is a bringing together of, what we could call the masculine and the feminine wing of our own inner beings and of humanity. And yeah, I believe that that is part of the healing. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, as you know, Kosha, we've got the Changemaker Pledge where we're setting that up to help individuals who maybe have aspirations of being a change maker and following a similar path to yourself, or maybe they're already doing change making work and they'd love to be part of a community of other change makers. If you were to reflect on your journey, what would you say were the top one or two change making attributes, if you like, that you've had to bring to your work consistently?
Hmm. Well, one that immediately comes is that as we create transformation from high intention, that we have this unconscious invitation to life to show up for healing.
Hmm.
So wherever we come with a real intention, life will meet us with pain, resistance, seeming resistance, difficulties.
Yeah.
And the higher our aspiration and the more beautiful our intention, the stronger this will feel. So I would say my main learning has been literally in the moments where I meet the resistance. So I'm coming here, I have this beautiful dream of what I'm wanting to create, right? And I bring it into the world, and wow, there's the difficulty, right? There's this person who say, oh, you're so naive, this will never work, or, you know, whatever. There's a real difficulty. Maybe it's a difficulty in my own personality that I'm meeting, or in the funding, the resourcing stream, a war breaking out around me. It's a lot happening. And in those moments, our fear responses come up,
Yeah.
right? There's the fight, there's the flight, there's the freeze. And, to become tender with ourselves in those moments, to stay with ourselves and to stay with this difficulty and to make this dance, which is the place where we so often leave the situation. We're so often leave, and then we come back to it again and again. It becomes a repetitive pattern to stay with and melt. And this melting process, I find, happens on all levels at the same time. It's within me, it's in my relationships to the world, and there's the miracle that the world starts melting. When all of this starts melting, the world starts melting too. And where there was a wall before, it becomes a door, it becomes a window, it opens, and I can walk through. And that's one. But it's such a strong one, which I've
Yeah.
met again and again. And I would say the second one is one I'm in the process of really deepening right now, which is around collaboration
Hmm.
on higher and higher levels. This movement from competition to collaboration. So as I'm listening to you, am I listening for what is it you really wanting to bring? What is it that's your heart is beating? It's a calling.